Hey there, it's Tony with DIVI.FYI, and today I wanted to go through some tips and tricks on CSS Hero 4, the new version of CSS Hero that's out in connection and collaboration with your Divi builder and working on text modules. Now this can apply to a lot of other different builders. Even if you don't use a builder, you can use this. Apply this video and these techniques with CSS Hero on a handful of different other WordPress-based sites. But for this, I'm going to be using Divi, of course. So let's go ahead and get started. What I've got here is I've just created a blank page, a temporary page, and for this, I'm going to go ahead and just create a few text sections here. So I'm going to go ahead and get my columns in place, and I'm going to add some text. I'm just going to keep that one that way. And I feel what's useful with this is that, yes, there's a button module built into Divi, but if you're not using Divi, maybe this could be useful in addition. And we're just going to create a button there. So we got our text, and let's just duplicate that. Additionally, I think that it's always nice to have a second way of doing things just in the circumstance. We're going to go ahead and make the right side here just a little smaller. So we've got our long text here. We'll call this our little blurb. We've got some text that we're going to call our buttons. Let's change this one to button 2. And let's just publish that. Real simple. We're not going too crazy here because a lot of this work's going to go ahead and be placed into CSS Hero. So what we're going to do is we're going to use some predefined button snippets, and then we can probably go into how to define and make your own snippets in CSS Hero. So I'm logging into CSS Hero here, the editor. And for this video, we're running on CSS Hero 4.01. So here we've got our page, and we've got our section here that we just created. There's our buttons, button 1 and button 2. And what we're going to go ahead and do is, let's select button 1. Now I don't want to select, so we have a few options. And I can do only this element, only on this page, this template. I am going to do only this element because I don't want to change both of these. In addition, I don't want to change every single text content module that I type into this page, only this one right here. So right here we've got on the code editor, we can see that we are only editing the specific element, not all of them. And what's really convenient with CSS Hero 3 and 4 is that we've got these predefined areas, they're called snippets. And we can just go to buttons right here. And they are all, they're all blue, but that's okay. We'll change that color. We can hover over it. And that just converts that whole area that we just created into a button, which is really cool. We can do, it looks like they call that traditional. There's a nice styled gradient button with a shadow there. We've got a pill styled button. But for this, let's go ahead and I'd like to go ahead and choose my traditional. I kind of like the look of this one. So we'll click apply. You see there we've already got that changed. Now again, it's only that one element, so that's why that is only changed right there. And the snippet is more or less a container. It's got a handful of different CSS adjustments in this to make this look like a button, including the background, the text color, all of that. Looks like there's just a slight border there, but it's all defined in this container, which the CSS Hero editor calls a snippet. We can change the color of these quick snippets, which is convenient. So we just click on here, right, and let's make this purple. Really, that's a kind of a blue purple, but yeah, let's make that purple right there. Nope, it didn't change. How about we click remove? There we go, remove, and then we'll apply it again. Now we've got a very bright purple. One thing that you can change is, even though yes, we've defined this as a snippet, we can go ahead and change a lot of these other areas so that text color is just a little bit light for my liking. I'm going to go back here and go into properties and then typography. You see here's this gray. We're under typography, and that's that gray right there. What I really want to see is that's a really bright white, so it gives contrast. We can see what we're actually trying to click on, or whatever the call to action is there. And you can also make it a little bigger. We could make it nice, big, and bold. Get that adjusted. What we can also do, well, can't get that centered. How about, so if we want to get it centered, that's the text alignment. Let's back out of typography. We're going to go to positioning here. Let's see here. Actually, I'm sorry. Let's go to extras. We're in extras, and we've got float, none, left, and right. And you see you can adjust also your float to make it shifted a little bit. Why don't we go ahead and change this one right here. We're going to select only this element. And what you can do, if you didn't want to do a snippet, that was a snippet right there, but now we've got this element. We can go ahead and just make our own. Now it's a little bit more challenging, so I wouldn't recommend this unless you really have to, because it's a lot of work. The snippets are pretty cool, and you can usually get what you need to out of it unless it's a very high demanding project you need to have customized. But we're going to go to the background color here, and let's go ahead and add a gradient, and let's do kind of a dark there, and let's do kind of a purple, and change the direction there. Now it's going across. One of the add-ons to CSS Hero 4 is that you have a lot more of a convenient function to edit the padding. When you're hovering over an item here, you can actually just click right there, and we can hover over, even though it's kind of tough to see what you're doing sometimes, we can hover over our padding and we can just adjust it right there. So then we don't have to go actually into the spacing settings and doing it manually. And you can see that here on the left. Let's click off of that here for a second and then go back to this element. See, there's the padding that we just changed. And hey, if we want to do it manually, because it looks like I wasn't really on very good precision there, 17 pixels high. Let's change that to 17 pixels on the bottom two. Can't see the text, so why don't we click on the text and change that white. And let's center that. Now it's starting to look a little bit more like a button. Not as pretty as that other one. I like the snippets, but hey, let's go ahead and do this right here. Let's make that really big text, 26 points. That's nice. And we're going to go over to borders here and add, actually let's go to border radius. Let's add a little bit of a border radius. Now it really starts looking like a button. See, we've added that border radius, 16. Let's even go crazy. Let's make it almost like a pill. 25 border radius there. I think one of the last things we can do to make that really look like a button is we're going to go over to extras and let's make a shadow. So we have box shadow right here. I'm going to go to make. Now you have to move this just a little bit to get that shadow to appear on the editor, but then we can move right back. And I'm really a big fan of it being right underneath. It's centered there. And let's change this to something more expected, like a gray, or we can even do dark and make it. That's probably the right way to do it. Have it clear. So now it's a little bit faded there. We could increase our spread just a little bit and add our blur in there a little bit. So that's a pretty cool looking button there. So So the benefit of creating this button, and I kind of alluded that I'd run into this as well, is we can define and create a snippet out of this button. So we've got all of the CSS code here. What we can do, let me close out of that, make a shadow. What we can do is, see if we hover over here, it says store edits as snippet. So I can just select that, call it my snippet. How would we call it? Pill button. We'll just save that right there. And now you can see we've got our defined snippet as a container that has all of those settings already in there. So as you'd expect, we can go back to snippets, and we have all of our items as it comes preloaded as the software, but here we have a section, your snippets, and there it is. You can also modify it, but if we go back to this button here, let's select only that element. I'm going to delete this, turn it back to a regular text module, and I like this button now that I made it. And so you can preview it, or you can apply it. Let's go ahead and turn that button on. And there you have it. We have two buttons, predefined buttons, created as a snippet, which is editable and really easy just to click on there and make your own buttons. So yeah. If you found this useful with CSS Hero 4 and with Divi, or if you have other tricks to make your own buttons on the Divi platform, or if you use another Divi platform, or other than Divi, and you like to make buttons in different forms, why don't you share it? Let us know. I'd definitely be happy to hear it. All right, thanks.